So, do you know how to play this pass in FC25? Or this pass? Or this one right here? If not, then you're missing out, because these are all crucial passes in FC25 that will allow you to score more goals. So let me show you how to do them in the next 10 minutes, and together we're going to take your passing game in FC25 to the next level. No chit chat, we're hopping in right away with the best passing techniques you need to know in this game. We're starting by refreshing the fundamentals and then diving straight into the secret sauce. First, we have the 1-2 pass. This one has been a staple for years, but this doesn't make it less important. So for the new players out there, and for those of you that have become lazy and need a reminder, play more 1-2 passes by holding down L1/LB while playing a pass, and your attacker then will start a run after passing the ball. And this creates movement, puts pressure on the opponent's defense, and will allow you to push your attack forward with more pressure. If the opponent doesn't cover the run, voila, you can just feed your attacker a through ball and score. And even if the opponent covers the run, this now gives you more time on the ball, so it's a win-win. So play more 1-2 passes pretty much any time you have the ball with an attacking player, even if it's like you're attacking center mid or wing back in a 4-4-2, push them forward. It will give you more passing options and reward you down the line. Next up, we have the driven pass, another staple that's been around for years, and that's once again a crucial passing tool in FC25. You do a driven pass by holding R1/RB while playing a pass, and this will make the ball go faster and really ping it to the target. Pretty much any pass you play to someone that's further away, you want to play as a driven pass to give the opponent less time to intercept the ball and also less time to react to the new attacking situation. This is also why this pass is so important in the final third. When you find a striker in an open position in or around the box, you want to pass them the ball with a driven pass, because this will make the pass harder to intercept and will also make a big difference in how much time the defender has to switch players, react, and get into a good defending position. So use driven passes, guys. Okay, let's start to get a bit more advanced now by talking about ground through balls. What's advanced about ground through balls, you might ask? Well, of course, their primary purpose is quite basic. You see a good run, you see that there is space to pass the ball into, and so you play the ground through ball with triangle/Y to get in behind the defensive line and score. But there is actually another use case for this pass that's really powerful and just not being used by most players. I didn't even use it much myself until last year, but once you get the hang of it, it will transform your attacking game. I'm talking about using the through ball to pass into your player's feet instead of all the way deep in behind the defensive line. The spots where you can use this technique are when you trigger a run from your attacker, either by playing a 1-2 pass or by pointing the left stick at them and pressing L1/LB, and then the defender is covering that run. Now, a deep through ball would just be intercepted by the defender, but what you can do instead is aim the left stick directly at your attacker and play a through ball with a little less power than usual. And what this does is getting the ball to your striker safely while being able to keep your forward momentum going, and at the same time you have space on the ball because the defender was pushed back in order to cover the run. And this puts you into very good spots where you can force a one-on-one against the last defender and outplay them, or you can also use this around a crowded box, especially with players on the inside forward roll. This works well. So what you do is you trigger a run for them with L1/LB, and then they will push into the space in between the lines, and then you feed them the ball with triangle/Y, and suddenly you make things very uncomfortable for the opponent. But of course, in order to make things uncomfortable for the opponent, you not only need good passing, but also a dribbling, finishing, and tactical skill set as well. And all of these things we cover over on the Guide Plus in our FC25 attacking course. And we have a bunch of other courses there as well on defending, tactics, the current meta game, and so much more. So if you're looking to become a better player, I can only recommend you to check out our FC25 Season Pass with the link below. You're getting a ton of in-depth high quality content for the entire season, and you support our work at the same time, so see you there. Back to passing, so we know now how to get the most out of the normal ground through ball. Time to do the same for the lobbed through ball. You play this pass with L1 plus triangle or LB plus Y, and the default use case for this pass is to feed your attacker a high through ball that goes over the defensive line and therefore doesn't give a chance for the pass to be intercepted. And this pass works quite well this year, especially if your player has the long ball playstyle. However, once again, the true power lies in a special use case of this technique: the first time lobbed through ball. These are completely broken this year and one of the most consistent ways to create chances and get into a 1 versus 1 situation against the keeper. Here's how they work. For this technique, you need 3 players: the guy with the ball, the passer, and the runner. Now, there's 2 ways to pull off the first time through ball. Number 1, you trigger your runner by first pressing L1/LB while pointing the left stick towards them and send them forward this way. They need a bit of distance from the defensive line so they don't run offside right away, and now you pass the ball from your guy with the ball to the passer. Time this pass so that you're about to receive the ball exactly when your runner almost crosses the offside line. And now, instead of receiving the ball, you play a first touch lobbed through ball to your runner. It's as easy as that. The second way to pull this off is a little more complicated because you need quick execution. You first pass the ball from your guy with the ball to your passer. While this pass is traveling, you point the left stick at your runner and trigger his run again with L1/LB. Then you immediately make the input for the first time through ball. And this technique works really well in a 2-striker system because your runner is close to the offside line, which you need for this variation. And once you get the timing down, you can go through on goal consistently with this technique. While it's nice scoring, it doesn't feel very realistic and rewarding though. A technique, on the other hand, that does feel very rewarding and goes back to playing beautiful football is the precision lob pass. This one you play with R1 plus square or RB plus X, and it's like a manual lobbed through ball essentially. Why do we need this manual technique instead of the normal one, you might ask? Well, because the assisted through balls are not always played the way you want them to. In fact, there are many instances this year where they end up too short and don't make very good use of the free space behind the defensive line. In comes the precision lob pass, because this one you control all by yourself. Aim and power need to be perfect for these to work, but if they do, oh my, they are the most fun passes to pull off, trust me. My biggest advice for these is that you need to play them a little bit further than you think. You see the trajectory and target with the aim help, but you need to keep in mind that these are lobbed passes, so if you play them too short, they will start coming down early and will be intercepted. Practice this technique and suddenly you will have a very powerful weapon in your arsenal that will allow you to convert on runs that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. And then last but not least, we have the low cross, another super powerful passing technique this year that allows you to convert your attacks through the wing. Because when you're able to push through on the sideline and you see a runner inside the box with space in front of them, this year you don't need to frustrate yourself by trying a driven pass or a through ball or normal cross to get the ball to them, which all don't work that well. Instead, you can use the low cross by powering up your cross with square or X like you usually would, and then tapping the crossing button a second time quickly after to ensure that the cross stays low. These low crosses are fast, accurate, and have a nice curve to them so that you can play the ball around the defender and get it nicely served in front of your attacker to finish with an easy tap-in. So we know all the important passing techniques now. Great. But does your passing game still look like this, or this, or this? Then you not only need to master the correct techniques, but you also need to understand how to control your passing game. What do I mean by that? Well, FC25 has changed passing quite significantly, with passing angles mattering more, as well as one-touch passes being tough to pull off. We know all that stuff by now. However, let me tell you how you can actually adapt and still play a beautiful passing game. The secret is building your team correctly and knowing your players, because this year player stats, weak foot and playstyles all matter much more than before. If you attempt a first touch pass with a defender's 3 or 2-star weak foot and mediocre passing stats and no playstyle, then you are setting yourself up for trouble. However, if you have someone on their strong foot with good passing stats and ideally the tiki-taka playstyle, you can absolutely play well-controlled first-touch passes. The same goes for long side switches. Without the long ball playstyle, at least in Silver, these are super slow and useless, but when played with a player who has the playstyle, these can be an effective tool to get away from pressure. So you need to know which player you have on the ball and adjust the passes you play accordingly. I can only recommend getting a strong ball-playing midfield and watching out for the playstyles. I currently play with Padri and Pedri, and not only do their names go well together, but I absolutely love the freedom I have with them on the ball, because they have great passing stats, 4-star weak foot both, tiki-taka playstyle in Silver both, and then the long ball and incisive pass playstyles in Gold. Trust me, a midfield like that will unlock your passing game. So now we have the right tools and we have the passing understanding. Time to combine everything and look at a couple examples in detail to give you some inspiration on how you can score from passing in this game. First example, we win the ball in our own half and immediately start the counter-attack. We play the ball out of the pressure and then use one of those through balls into the feet I talked about earlier. Then it's time for some pace going down the wing, and as soon as I see that my striker is making a run into the box, I don't hesitate and go for the low cross immediately to finish off the attack. The second example is about the first touch through ball. Again, we win the ball and go for the counter. If you have a 2-striker formation, like the 4-4-2 in my case here, you can just always have a look at the radar when you win the ball back and spot if you can play the pass to your first striker. In this case, it's open, so I use the driven pass because there's a long distance between my players, and then when the ball is about halfway, I trigger the other striker's run with L1/LB and send the ball through first touch with L1 triangle. The players weren't even fully on the screen yet, so this is almost impossible to defend. Let's play some actual football now though with this third example where we start with a slower build-up in our own half. We incorporate our fullback with a through ball, initiate some movement with a 1-2 pass, but end up recycling the possession. Next pass is driven to cover the distance quicker, and then once again we're working a lot with 1-2 passes to create movement and passing options. We push through on the wing and cut back with another driven pass. We create another run and then we do a 1-2 pass into a first touch 1-2, which is where the opponent finally messes up, and we can play the through ball towards Traoré, and with a bit of dribbling and another normal pass to the side, we end up free on goal. So this is how to make passing work in FC25. If you're struggling on the other side of the pitch and need defending advice, then check out the video I have linked on screen right now. See you there.